Hi, you guys. You got your Miss Ann here for part 2 of explosions in the camp. Remember last week we did part 1. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. It was elephant toothpaste. So now we are in part 2, Mentos and Coke. So before we get to the official video where I did a whole bunch of the Mentos and Coke experiment, let's talk about what that is really quickly. So first off, it's been going on for a long time, actually longer than Miss Ann even knew, because the experiment originated way back in the 1980s. And back then, they didn't use Mentos that we use. Now, they actually used Lifesavers Wintergreen. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lifesavers Wintergreen. I honestly forgot that even existed, but I think it still does. And so Lifesavers, like, they were doing this kind of experiment back then. But in the 1990s, in the late 1990s, Lifesaver actually made their the Lifesaver size bigger. So it was too big to go through the top of the Coke bottle. So they had to, science teachers had to scramble and find something else to impress their students with. And since science teachers are amazing, hooray science teachers, they found Mentos and actually thought that they work better than the Lifesavers anyway. I'm not really sure if they actually do or not, because you can't really test it anymore because the Lifesavers are too big. So if you guys don't know, I think what we're going to do is very quickly insert the first Mentos and Coke video right here. And you can watch it, and then we'll come back and talk about what happened, okay? So watch this first one really quick. All right, you guys, so let's talk quickly while I'm finishing this what we're going to do next. Because we're not just doing this today, we're going to do the Mentos and Coke thing too.
Yeah, the Mentos and Coke.
Who's seen that one before?
Yeah, I did it.
You have? You've done it? Okay, so this reaction right here that we're doing right now, what kind of reaction is this? Is it there's two kinds of reactions. There's a chemical reaction and a physical reaction. What one are we doing right now?
Chemical reaction.
Chemical reaction, very good. What's the Mentos and Coke? Is that a chemical reaction? No? Yes?
Yeah.
Kind of? Maybe? What's baking soda and vinegar? What kind of reaction is that? That's a chemical reaction. The Mentos and Coke is actually kind of, you're right, it's sort of both. Because there are factors that are chemical, but it's mostly a physical reaction. Because it's how quickly the Mentos drop through. We're going to talk about it when we do Mentos, but... Mentos and Coke. Who's ever had a Mento before? Who's ever eaten one? You have? You guys have? You have? You guys? Do you like them? They're delightful. You've had Mentos before. Did you like it?
I've had the Mentos gum.
You've had the Mentos gum? Has anyone had the Mentos candy?
Yes.
What does it feel like?
It's sour.
It's sour? That's what it might taste like. What does it feel like?
Soft. Feels like hard.
It feels like hard on the outside and soft on the inside? Yeah? Is it smooth on the outside or is it rough on the outside?
Smooth.
Kind of. Right? You know what? We're just going to do it. Then we'll talk about it. We have enough. Oh, these papers are going to get wet.
It's all good.
So you know. Okay.
I'm ready to fight fire.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, did you enjoy the explosion? It's pretty cool, and if you've never seen it before, it's really fun to do. So let's take a look at our ingredients. So what we used to do the Mentos and Coke geyser is you need Diet Coke. And I recommend using Diet Coke if you want the best explosion or, you know, the best reaction that you possibly can have, because First of all, it doesn't have any sugar in it. If you did this with regular Coke, it gets really, really sticky. And since they use aspartame instead of sugar in Diet Coke, it doesn't leave any sticky residue. So thumbs up for no messes. Miss Ann always tries to make no messes if she can, but if she can't, she doesn't really care either. So here's the other thing, which is Mentos. So you guys know that it comes in a package like this. And we're going to do a super close-up of the Mentos. So if you can see it right here. I wish that you guys could all feel it, because if you haven't felt the Mentos before, it feels really, really smooth. And I know if you guys, I don't know if I can break it apart with my bare hands, but if you listen to how kids described it on the video, it is hard on the outside and kind of chewy on the inside, and it is very minty. So let's talk about what happens during the Mentos and Coke experiment. So first of all, like I said in the video, that it is a physical reaction. And so this is how it works. Inside every soda bottle, and it doesn't matter if it's in a bottle or in a can or whatever, the contents of the soda are very pressurized, which means that they're holding like a lot of the air in and making sure they're compressing kind of everything down. Instead of just being free, the gas being free in the open air, it's compressed inside the soda bottle, because that's what makes your soda fizzy. So honestly, you could do the Mentos experiment with a different kind of soda, but it's just that Diet Coke, they found through trial and error, works best. So that's why we use it. So, so what happens when you open a soda bottle, you guys have all done that before, or even a can or anything that has fizzy stuff in it, is that it makes a noise. So you can hear it. It's like that shh noise when you do it. I'm going to do it with this bottle of soda. And hopefully you're going to be able to pick up the noise of it when we do it. But first, I want you guys to think about what makes it fizzy and what's compressed in there, which is carbon dioxide. That's what makes the fizziness. So because it's under so much pressure, the carbon dioxide has dissolved into the soda. And when you open the top of it, that's the carbon dioxide finally changing from being dissolved carbon dioxide back into gas carbon dioxide. So let's look up close when you do that. So I'm going to open it up and you can see if we can hear the carbon dioxide escaping. Ready? I'm going to be very quiet. Ooh, that was pretty good. I hope that you guys could hear that. So now, do you see on the top of this all these little bubbles formed since I opened it? That is how the carbon dioxide escapes. It escapes into the tiny little bubbles that are on the side of the bottle. So what happens here is this takes kind of a long time. That's how when people say your soda goes flat, or your pop, or whatever you prefer to say, is that from now on, if we left the top off of this bottle, the carbon dioxide would eventually all escape and there'd be no fizziness left. But that's how it happens naturally. But when we add the Mentos to it, it changes, because if we dropped a whole bunch of Mentos into here right now, which I'm not going to do because we are inside and we have pretty decent videos to show you of me doing it later. Okay, so the Mentos speed up kind of the degassing process, which is what happens when we open it and just let it sit like we were doing right now. That the more bubbles that you can have in the soda, the more chances there are to make more bubbles, and the carbon dioxide will get trapped inside those bubbles. And the physical reaction is that it will explode more. So I'm actually going to pour this into a cup, and you're going to see how this works I'm going to throw some Mentos into this cup. But it's not going to geyser up. And you can see too, like all that, here, let me show you. All that fizzy stuff that's on the top of the cup, that is the carbon dioxide escaping. So if we were to put this Mento that looks smooth but actually is covered in millions of little, like small pits that the carbon dioxide bubbles get underneath, and it becomes like they get stuck, and it's like kind of like a pressurized thing again, and then that's why it comes with that giant big geyser when it escapes from this. So I'm going to take a couple of Mentos and drop it into this Coke, but it's not going to geyser up because part of what makes it do that is the fact that it only has a very small area to escape from the top of the bottle. That's why we put this thing on it that you'll see in the videos, which you guys can buy these geyser tubes. You can buy them on Amazon, but you can also just roll up a piece of paper like this and maybe tape it on the side. I'm not gonna do it. We're inside. This is definitely an outside activity. Parents and kids, do not be doing this in your kitchen. It's not the best idea. But if you roll up a piece of paper or cardboard or whatever, you can stick it in the top and drop the Mentos in there if you want to find them too. Oh, by the way, Mentos, sometimes difficult to find. Check CVS's and Walgreens. They're usually there from the Mentos website. Okay, so I have 3 Mentos here. I'm going to drop them into this thing, and we'll see if it creates that much of a reaction. Did you guys see? Look at all that fuzzing in there. That is all of the little bubbles getting caught in the parts of the Mentos in like the little divvy pots, parts of the Mentos candy, and it makes that reaction. Where do the Mentos go?
Yeah, in the Coke.
They're in the bottom. I'll walk it around, you guys. All right. Now, when this happens, the reason why it does is that even though Mentos feel smooth, they actually have teeny little microscopic pits in it. And the carbon dioxide gets underneath those little pits, and it makes that big explosion. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Do you want to count me down?
Yeah.
5?
2.
Wait, from 5.
Yeah, 5.
I like 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
But again, you need the jet, the small area to really have that geysery kind of effect. You need to like shove it out of another very small area so it will shoot up into the sky instead of, because there's so many ways for the gas to be released from the top of the cup that it's not being forced up, it's being forced out, because there's nowhere for this to go except for up when we make it come out of such a small bowl at the top. So again, Mentos and Coke, it's a physical reaction instead of a chemical reaction, because we saw chemical reactions last week with the elephant toothpaste, and this is a physical reaction, but they're both kind of explosions. Okay, I want to share with you guys what's going on in this experiment that looks like we messed it up. So in this next little teeny clip that we're going to look at, I'm going to include it because I want you guys to see how experiments don't always go exactly the way we think that they're going to go. And in this experiment, I cut up a bunch, well, I actually broke a bunch of these Mentos because there was a thought that if you had more surface area, there would be more of a chance to have a higher explosion. I actually think that was what we were trying to hypothesize with the kids, but it really didn't work for 2 reasons. One, I think it wouldn't have had a higher explosion anyway than if it is an intact Mentos. Or they all got stuck together. All the Mentos got stuck together in the cup, so only a couple of them went into the soda. So you can see in the next one that it's like, it's sort of a bummer of a mistake. So, but if you want to try the Mentos and Coke experiment at home, which is it's kind of a fun thing to do. I would recommend trying that out, like buy enough Mentos to try that part out and see if it works better for you. It just didn't so much for Miss Ann because we were hot and I had broken up the Mentos before we had all the kids come, and so they kind of melted together and I could not get them through the top of the soda bottle. Or less.
Put all of them.
More.
Put all of it.
So I cut up like a whole bunch of them. Actually, I smashed them with the paver.
How many Mentos did you
I
smash?
think that there's like 8.
So then it's going to be more.
You think there's going to be more?
Yes.
You think it's going to be bigger?
Yes.
Maybe.
It's like a geyser going for the sky, right?
Okay.
Wait,
Oh my God, this is
it won't make the reaction. Never mind.
I couldn't get it in fast enough. I got like maybe half of them in there.
Never mind. It almost got on your hair.
I know.
That's the
I can
slowest
try a little
reaction
more.
I've ever seen in my life.
But you guys can see
It won't.
how it's already done. It already had its reaction even if I put more in
That's
there.
the smallest reaction I've ever seen in my life.
If you are doing the Mentos and Coke experiment, try changing the number of Mentos that you put inside of the Coke bottle. Does it work better with 4? Does it work better with 8? Does it work better with, I don't know, if you can try to get 20 in there, you can go right ahead. This fits only 8. Honestly, I think that you guys can try it and see if you get a better response than Miss Ann, but I think that this is kind of the optimal number because I think if you put too many in, it starts gushing up before you get to all the Mentos, so you can't even get some of the carbon dioxide to develop underneath the pits in the Mentos because there's too many of them, and so then it kind of gets in the way and it doesn't work as well. I think that, but maybe if you try it, it'll work out better for you.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! It's leaking!
I really want to run in.
It was leaking.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out and doing Mentos and Coke with Miss Ann, and I hope that you really enjoyed it. Next week, we are actually going to be doing one more camp collaboration, and it's going to be an art thing, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to stay tuned for next week. I'll probably do a preview video on Tuesday morning and then premiere it later in the day. So stay tuned. More fun stuff between Miss Ann and the day camp at Casey Park. So I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.